Thanks, Alan. That's great. Yeah, Brendan O'Riordan is my name. I'm, as Alan said, the country manager for Dalux, which is a Danish company. Um, I've been with Dalux since February, but I've been working in this industry at another company called Zutec since 2011. So I have plenty of experience around it. And today I'm going to do a presentation about how to ensure success through openBIM principles, particularly in the delivery phase to the management phase. So before I get into that, let me just give you a little bit about Dalux. It would be remiss of me not to tell you about it. It's a Danish company. It's founded in 2005. We have 5 main products. Firstly, Box, which is a CD, fully 19650 compliant. So if you have a 19650 CD requirements, we can fulfill that. We have a Tender for managing your tenders. Field, which is all about getting information from the field back to the office or the other way around. So snags, RFIs, checklists, photos, 360 photos, site walks. We've got AR built into that. Handover, which is obviously like O&M handover, so it's handover of asset data, and then FM. So we have a full FM suite, which is help desk, PPM, all of that good stuff, and it's all powered really around the world's best BIM viewer. So that's what Dalux was built on. It was built around a really good 3D viewer. That's where it started as a PhD. There's 2 brothers own the company. They still own it 100%. There's no investment. There's no loans. So they're very much able to build the things they want to build. There's no one overseeing them, and they're able to, you'll see that we've over 700,000 users and over 30 offices in 22 countries. We currently have about 415 employees, and about maybe close to 200 of those are software developers, all based in Copenhagen. None of it is outsourced. Everything is done in-house. There's no Unity backend or anything. Everything is proprietary. It's an incredible system, and the viewer is amazing. I only just the other day downloaded a large train station, the model, fully federated model of a large train station to my phone. It took less than a minute from clicking download to being able to navigate through it seamlessly. It's absolutely incredible viewer, and everything is based around that. So in a nutshell, what we do is we make complicated things easier. The Danish way is the simple way. It's all about making things simple, user-friendly. You know, Dalux, it's Torben and Bent Dalgaard started the company. The UX is exactly the same. It's for UX. That's where it comes from. That's what's really high on the agenda. Now, just to say before I begin into the detail of this, I will be showing Dalux here. I am representing Dalux, but the concepts are the important thing. You know, you can do this with other software. It's not an issue, but I'm going to show it through Dalux, as I think you can imagine I should do. So, to move on. The end of the project's approaching. You know, you're under pressure, you've got completion dates, and then the client starts asking you for handover information. You've got a lot on trying to finish the project. You start to think about it. You're thinking about, okay, how do I hand over this project? What data do I need? And you take the electrician as an example. So, you know, he's on site at the moment fitting out all his light fittings, and you haven't seen any information from him. So you ask him straight up, can I get the information I require regarding for handover from all the installed assets? And he says, you know, they send through some stuff via email. You know, that's kind of fine. It's all email and documents, PDFs, but the client is looking for an asset information model. So we have to get this information back into the model. We're back to the consultant, the architect, the engineer, and very much this is not in our scope. So now you've waited a couple of weeks, you're getting even closer to the end of the project. So you speak to the client, you say, you know, I need to get this in. Can we increase the scope to the consultant? You know, they'll put it in the model, this information they have. He agrees, the consultant agrees, and it works. You've got information in the model that you've received from the electrician, except it's not all the information the client needs. And you don't really notice at the time. You know, the electrician's just put in what he has. You know, often they would in the past was hand over paper or PDFs or, you know, an old O&M manual with details. So you need to get it right. There's missing information. So you speak to the electrician, and he goes, oh, yeah, some of that information we changed. I couldn't get such and such a type of fitting. I've changed it. You're literally back to square one, even after doing that. So, you know, why is this such a common issue? Why is, you know, and it happens it's not really just even about BIM, it's just handover information. Why is it always an issue? It's because inadequate communication needs to relevant parties. You might get an electrical contractor, they're doing 10 contracts at once. What's required is buried in the spec, but they kind of have their own folder system back in the office and they just push it out. They use their procurement process to help it. It's, it's complicated, it's cumbersome. You've got issues trying to get that information across. They could have it, as I say, dead PDFs. They could have it in, flash files for all, on flash drives. You could have it in HTML files. It could be links to internet things, websites. There could be a whole lot of different problems with it. So you have the inability to interact with the data, both input and output. So it depends. That's very broad, but it's you're looking for information in one way, you're getting another way. It's not interoperable. So your software, which is not interoperable, it's difficult to use. So you can't expect your electrical contractor to have the ability of the consultant or the architect to input data to model. So it's difficult for them to use, but it's not interoperable what they do use. So in other words, communication, interaction, and the lack thereof are really the problem. That's what we're going to look at. So if you don't understand what to do or can't work with the systems to do it in, then how can you hand over what they want? It's impossible for the electrical contractors or whatever subbies it is to get this information across. So openBIM principles, 6 main principles: interoperability, it's open, sustainable, collaboration, flexibility, reliable. Now, they all mean different things, and we're going to concentrate on these 4. Interoperability, that I can use information from one software type in another software type. Collaboration, I can share it easily. Flexibility, I can move it around. I have the option of doing different bits and pieces in different softwares joined together. And reliable, it's not going to fall over. It's not some app that's going to disappear in a while. It's got to be reliable. And these 4 principles, that's what I'm going to concentrate on, because they significantly help the built asset lifecycle, particularly around this area from delivery to management. So interoperability is necessary to promote flexibility. Can't be flexible. You can't have the flexibility of what system someone's going to use if they're not interoperable. And that's, the requirements of the end user or the building, or the information required at the end. You need that flexibility to get to that point. So we've got open exchange formats. It's great. You've got BCF to communicate issues, IFCs to communicate the models and some data related to that. Your COBie, XML, semi-structured data that you can allow additional data to be shared. It comes together, you bring it all together to produce a whole view of the project, the asset, the project information model, which then migrates to an asset information model. The flexibility is important because there can never be a single software that can meet the needs of everyone involved in the project, either design or management of it. And just to give you some examples of that. So here's an example of how those open formats allow multiple different systems to output something that could be read. So with this example here, we've got in the top right, that's a point cloud. We've got a federated model in the middle top. We've got a structural model at the bottom left, cladding, a roof cladding model in the middle bottom, and you've got an MEP model in the bottom right. They've all got different needs, and they all need to be brought together. And we've seen the federated models, but it's also with the data behind it. You also have other things like, Ronan spoke about photos, 360 videos. They could all got to be operate together for that visual side of it. I know we're not necessarily talking immediately about the data, but that bringing all that together is a really important part of this, making everyone access even the visual side of everything. Take this model, for example. It just looks like it doesn't look very big, but that's actually 215 models. It's infrastructure. Like the amount of detail required in that. You've got, drawings of roads, geo surveys. This bridge or underpass here is only one tiny bit of that model. This one with a point cloud is only another tiny bit of that model. And this is a whole building, which, in a lot of cases is a whole project, but it's only a tiny part of that model. There are huge amounts of different systems for that flexibility. So we've already mentioned about the need for flexibility, but to reiterate, this is because there's a network of people needed to work on a project. Each one has different information they have to provide based on requirements set above. And by allowing flexibility, you can then start to have collaboration between different parties, starting to get it So those on the project to understand what it is being constructed, as well as the information required. You've got, these are the various systems you could have. You've Revit, Civil 3D, ArchiCAD, Tekla, Vectorworks, Allplan, even more could be used on a single project. And collaboration can only happen with interoperable formats that enable this flexibility of their system choice. You can't tell people what they have to use. They need to work in what they're comfortable working at. So, these kind of screenshots show what could be done when you combine all these models. I have access here to data, of this wall. I've access here to data of this column. I've got information in the top left. I've set up a filter so I can see the RFIs inspections that need to happen, the ones that have happened. And I've got, I can show the information required that just by one subcontractor in one phase, but it's coming from the overall view. You can now drill down into the one contractor, one phase, whatever it is. So, but the system has to be user-friendly. People have to be able to get into it. They have to be able to fly around it. They have to use it easily. It can't be heavy. You shouldn't need a gaming laptop to have to do this. You should be able to access it easily, ideally on mobile devices, but at least on a standard laptop. You've got just more information here. You've got access to, as I said, there was 215 models here, but I can drill down to this bit of bridge, get the data behind it, whether it's IFC data, whatever structural data there is. That's the kind of information you need to be able to get to. So, reliability through collaboration. Now we have people talking. The final bit is to get the requirements. They've got to be communicated and fulfilled properly. Through collaboration, understanding, people can begin to do reliable information exchanges between. So, they're not communicating properly, we don't get great information. If they're communicating well and they understand what they need, we get good outputs. So this is what we need to achieve. So how do we achieve this? Unfortunately, some of it starts with paperwork and written documentation, contractual obligations. It's complicated stuff, but it's needed. EIRs, OIRs, PIRs, AI, you've heard it all before. It's unfortunate, but that just has to be there. People have to know what they've got to do. And it's important that this is contractual. It's never easy, but if you make it at least easy to read, accessible to them, that's at least a good step along the way. So this stuff looks like this. It's tables, documents, matrices. It's information provided in Excel, PDF, emails, spreadsheets, Kobe spreadsheets. But the really important thing is who has to supply it, this information, when do you need the information, and what information is required. That's the critical bit. And that they've, that's what people have to get. A contractor could be on 10 projects, there are loads of different requirements, but that's the core of it to get back to that. So to do that, the collaboration part starts in design and the construction drawings. And if we have BIM, you define the projects that are applicable to the project. When you've got assets, which you do, define products against them. They might not be the right ones, but they've the products to find them. They can update them. Apply those projects to the assets that actually exist on the project. It could be from Excel or Kobe or from another BIM model, whatever way the information gets in. From there, on the right here, people only see what's relevant to them. The contractor owner sees everything. So, they have access to all the assets, but the electrician or whoever it is only sees the bits that's relevant to them. And let them see it in the model. Show them the assets in 3D. Let them see that's, this is how many there is. Everything else is closed out. They have this many of that asset. They can select one and start to click in to the product information. It's a pop-up socket. There'll be loads of them on a project. So you only have to put the information in against once, but you just need to, you save the family, put that information in against them once. It's not that big a deal. And then, as always, dashboards, keeping track of the status. On the left, we've got the contractor. You can see the status of everyone. He's got electrician, cooling, heating, ventilation, HVAC, carpenter, network engineer. He knows where he is. And the electrician will see what they have to supply. So they know they've got 92 assets. They know they've got 17 that are in progress, 70 are under review, and 3 are reviewed. So they know where they are. They know how many they have left. They can manage that. It's relevant for each party that's there. And then that information needs to be exported. So you've got that good head of information. So you got to get it out. So you can either do it through Kobe or you can push it into an FM system. And, transparency here, of course, we have the FM system for it, but it takes all the data across and allows the client to manage it properly. They can see if they have multiple assets, multiple buildings. They go to the map, click in, click down. They can get drill down into information really, really quickly, very, very easily. So remember, like this, we're getting to the end now, but show people what they need to do, when they need to do it, and a way they can understand. It's kind of, you know, they'll say, keep it simple, stupid. That's the way of it. It needs to be brought down to that. We can't expect contractors who need to be on site all the time, who are trying to make money, trying to get through it, to be sitting reading 100-page specifications. We need to give it up front and say, there it is in the model. All the stuff is saved. Just click your filter and you can see exactly how much information you have to fill in. And that's the only fair way to do it. So the delivery phase to management phase, it's as difficult as you choose to make it. If the consultants, the main contractor, if they'll put that bit of effort into getting that simple model, so they can, with the some asset data in there, and they have to, you know, attach to the electrical or the mechanical, HVAC, whatever it is, contractor, that they can filter it and see exactly what they need to do, then we'll get much better outcomes. And that's really, I've got a couple of more slides, but that's really it about that. And I look forward to any questions in the breakout session in a moment. But one thing I just want to tell you about, and sorry, a bit of advertising here. The Dalux Summit is on in November this year in Copenhagen. It's like Autodesk University or Procore, whatever they call it, but it's free. It's in Copenhagen, and there'll be, you know, over 1,000 people there. A lot of people sharing. Please register for free. It'd be great to see you there. And thank you for listening. As I say, there's a picture of us in company retreat recently in Greece. Any questions, I'll be glad to take at the breakout section. So thank you very much, guys. Cheers.